Hello my lovely people, welcome back to my channel today. If you're stopping by for the first time, my name is Tina Isoa. I'm a YouTuber based in Owerri, Nigeria, and on today's section I'm going to break down what is called complementary feeding. That is once your child turns 6 months, what kind of food are you supposed to introduce, what is the frequency, what is the texture, and what's volume, quantity you're supposed to be giving to your child. So watch this video to the end, as every step at it is very vital. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider clicking on the subscribe button, okay? If you have subscribed and you're coming back once again today, I love you. You're the reason I'm here. Keep sharing my video, keep liking and commenting. When we see comments, we react to it, we engage with our audience. We know that yes, it's very important, or you're picking kind of vital, is entertaining your day. Let's just put it that way. So keep sharing, keep liking and commenting, as we all love that. So don't forget to click on the notification bell, so once I post a video, you'll be among the first to see it. So let's dive into the main discussion of the day. So on a side note, let's talk about breastfeeding a little. Once a child is born, I actually posted a video on early initiation of breastfeeding. Once a child is born, you are advised to introduce breastfeeding as early as on or before 1 hour after birth. So to get the benefit that requires from the early initiation of breastfeeding, that's the colostrum and the nutrients that comes with that first yellowish milk. So once you introduce breast milk, you are expected to breastfeed till 6 months. The UNICEF, WHO, all agencies, no professional health worker will tell you to do otherwise, unless there is no other option. So you will be advised to exclusively breastfeed your baby. That is breastfeeding your baby for the first 6 months of life without foods or water, without any liquid. That is exclusive breastfeeding. So, but when your child turns, that is the main topic of the day. Once your child turns 6 months, what are you supposed to do? The first thing, we usually call it complementary feeding. Complementary feeding simply means the introduction or addition of other foods and liquids when breast milk is no longer enough or no longer sufficient to provide the nutritional requirement for an infant. That is to say, when your child is 6 months old, assuming you have been on exclusive breastfeeding, once your child is 6 months old, the nutrient that is required of the child to grow for other developmental milestones is no longer enough from breast milk. Hence, you have to introduce water, other liquids and food in addition to breast milk. That is, whatever you're giving or whatever you introduce is now complementing the breast milk. And how are you supposed to still breastfeed your baby? So usually we counsel mothers that once you want to feed your baby, that is, you're complementing the breast milk with the food, you should first of all, assuming you want to feed pap, you should first of all breastfeed your child before giving the baby the pap. Another thing is that you should breastfeed on demand. Assuming he wants to suck it at night, that is to breastfeed both day and night. Whenever he wants to suckle, you should be able to breastfeed. Don't say, I'll breastfeed in the morning, in the night, no, I will not give you breast milk, or I'll breastfeed at night, in the morning, no. You should breastfeed on demand, day and night. And breastfeeding should continue until 2 years of life, according to UNICEF, of course. You should continue breastfeeding till 2 years of life. And what are those things that are supposed to be considered during complementary feeding? Once your child is 6 months old, you have started, or you are expected to start giving other foods. How often should you give? That is frequency. You should give at least from 6 months to 9 months. You should be able to be giving the child additional food twice a day with a snack. And what do we mean by snack? According to UNICEF, we don't mean all those carbonated or already prepared juice. You can mash banana, you have other fruits. That is the snack we're making reference to. You should be able to give snack once a day for a child. So if you continue giving breast milk and you are able to feed the child with Of course, we are coming to variety. With the variety of food that is required twice a day and a snack, definitely the nutrient that is required for your child's mental development and physical development, we hope is going to be achieved. The next thing is the amount or the quantity. We have different bowls and cups for feeding children, but it shouldn't be more than 250 ml for a particular portion or for a particular serve for a child that is just being introduced to complementary feeding. So it shouldn't be more than, it shouldn't be too much. In fact, sometimes we even go as far as telling you that it can be 2 or 3 tablespoon feeds. Just to introduce gradually, you now get to the point whereby you can now increase the quantity. So another thing that is supposed to be considered is the texture of the food. That's whether thick or soft. You commonly hear mothers, they will say, make the pap so light. I'm just using pap because that's commonly what we give here. So you hear them add water so that it will be light, it will be acceptable by the child, or it will be digestible and all that. There is no harm in making all those things, putting those things into consideration. But according to UNICEF, it say if you make that pap and take it in a spoon, I'm going to show you that, guys. You see on this pot, this is marked X. It simply means that if you make that pap and you use spoon to take it and bend over the spoon, if it's able to pour away, then the texture is not acceptable for the child. The texture is not recommendable anyway. So, but if you make the food just like it's still here and turn down your spoon and it's not able to fall off, then it's okay for the child. Then the texture or the means of preparation is acceptable. So you should put that into consideration, that it doesn't necessarily need to be too light for it to serve its purpose, or for the child to of course accept it. It's a gradual process. We will get there. So the next thing to consider is variety. This is the main aspect of complementary feeding. Most of the times, hello guys, I'm a public health nutritionist. This is basically what I do every Thursdays, immunization days. That's the only day we see women coming with children for immunization. So we'll use that opportunity to introduce them into complementary feeding. And commonly when I ask mothers, how old is your baby? Say 6 months. Either I'm coming for vitamin A supplement or whatever. You ask, okay, this child is 6 months old. What have you been giving? You hear it's pap. And what else? You say it's only pap now. But no, in infant and young child complementary feeding, we have 4-star meals. And what are those 4-star meals? We have the staple food, the legumes, the animal protein, the vitamin A rich foods, and liquid fat and oil, in addition to liquid, which is water. So assuming in the morning you want to feed your child pap. I'm using pap because that's commonly what we use here. So assuming you want to feed your child pap. Pap is corn and is from staple foods. You should pick pap, which is from staple food. Then the next thing, you should pick one from legumes, which is either granite or soya bean or any other bean legume sauce of food should be added. The next thing is animal source protein. And what do we commonly have? We have crayfish. You blend crayfish, sieve it properly, and add it to the pap. And for the vitamin A rich foods, you add a little oil. Sometimes when you tell mother that you are supposed to add a little palm oil to pap, they will like wonder what this woman talking about. Yes, add a little palm oil to the pap. Aside the nutritional value of being a vitamin A source of food, it equally helps the body the food to be absorbable by the system. Yes, so that is the 4-star meal. You put pap, which is corn. You add legume or soya milk. What we commonly use here is soya milk, a little of it. You add crayfish and you add a little palm oil to food. That is the 4-star meal. Then the fruits and vegetable is actually that which you serve as a snack, which can be watermelon, banana, pineapple. Mash it, juice it. If you juice it like watermelon or pineapple, juice it and serve the baby the juice, the liquid. he or she have actually gotten the nutrient that is required, and the start meal has been served. In addition to water, because this is when you start giving water, in addition to water, and you give water on demand. Don't use it as a cover up. Drink water, let me do other things. You should have time for your baby. So these are what to consider in variety. Another thing you should consider during complementary feeding is activeness. Activeness is very important too, because we don't have time, we don't have patience. You feed a child with patience, that's just it. And here we commonly talk one tribe in Nigeria, I don't want to mention them so that nobody, you know how we do practical force feeding is known, it's like endemic with them doing practical force feeding. You don't force feed, you feed gradually, give it time. That is what we call active feeding. You don't do force feeding. Responsive, it should be responsive to the feeding. You should make it fun. Like I have in this my chart, this my counseling card, you can see this mother sitting down and serving this, giving this baby food. She's not in a hurry, she's not rushing, do quick. No. So it should be active, responsive. It should not be repulsive. It shouldn't be force feeding. That's the word there, that's the quote there. It shouldn't be force feeding. Another thing to consider during complementary feeding is hygiene. Very vital, because if you decide that you want to give your child the best of meal and is not done, is not prepared under a good hygienic environment, you have just wasted your time, because diarrhea will set in, sickness will set in, so many indigestion will set in, so many things will set in. So it is still important that you serve the meal or prepare the meal in a hygienic environment. And how do you go about it? Basically, whenever you want to prepare your child's meal, you should wash your hands first. Prepare the meal. Of course, this one is common. Most of us here, our children usually have their own plate and spoon. This plate and spoon should be washed properly. The plate and spoon should be washed properly. Don't get me wrong. Whenever you want to feed your child, please wash his or her hands. It's very important that the child practice hygiene equally, because most of the times you're feeding them, you don't know when they will just put their finger into the mouth and what comes of it. If assuming they were crawling at 6 months, the child is supposed to be sitting properly. While sitting there, maybe the hands went to a dirt and he puts into the mouth. You said, I practice everything, but this is what came out of it. No, you should wash the child's hand. Whenever you change diaper, wash your hands. When you finish feeding the baby, you should wash the plate properly and have a bowl that has cover. Put their plates there and cover to avoid rodents and the insects we have in the house kissing it or touching it, and at the end of the day you're using it to feed your baby unrinsed. So you should practice hygiene, okay? So maybe I should go further to show you this counseling card so that you understand and go about it the way I'm showing it up here, okay? So this is practically showing that, okay, it's written in Igbo, bido inye ya nri ndị ọzọ oruo ọnwa isii. That's like you should initiate other foods once the child is 6 months old. And what is this woman doing here? She's practically breastfeeding her child. Okay, so that the fact that your child is 6 months old does not mean you should not include breastfeeding. You should equally breastfeed, and you should relax. Feeding should be fun, okay? Shouldn't be in a hurry. So you can equally see on this description the mother washing her hand as well as the baby's hand. So you should practice hygiene. That is what this picture is talking about. And this is the food you serve 2 times in a day. This is at sunset and during the evening. So, and any other snack. And this place was just talking about the texture, which I explained earlier, that the food, if you make the pap and it's pouring away, then you got it wrong. It shouldn't be too light for it to be acceptable by the body or the baby. So the next page, which I actually wanted to explain further, is where we have the foods. If you can see this, you will see bread, corn, this is potato, this is yam, this is rice and so many other things that fall into the staple food. These are the staple food. There are others, okay? So, and this is the legume, which we have the groundnut, the soya milk, the green beans, the millet, and so many other. They are all here, okay? And this is the vitamin A source of food, and we have the carrots, avocado pear, and I don't know what it's called in this one. I don't know what it's called, but we call it anyo in my language, in my dialect. And this is the fruits and vegetables, where you have the banana, the apple, the watermelon, the pineapple, and so many others, including animal source protein. You can see fish here, you can see chicken, you can see red meat, you can see, I hope you're seeing it, you can see egg, you can see milk. These are all animal source protein. And this is the fat and oil that was mentioned. This is the red oil, this is the vegetable oil, and butter. So these are actually what is supposed to be given to these children, the variety that is supposed to be given to them, okay? So that's about it. The bonus for today is actually the family planning, okay? Most of the times, some persons are favored that they stay beyond 1 year without their cycle returning, okay? But commonly, it's very, very common for those who are favored to equally experience what we call the lactation amenorrhea method, okay? If you stay for 6 months, immediately you introduce complementary feeding, be rest assured that your cycle will return. And what do you do at this point? Go for family planning. That is, if your belief accepts it, go for family planning, because it is expected that your cycle will return and anything can happen, which we wouldn't want, unless if you want it. According to UNICEF and WHO, your baby is supposed to be 36 months before you take in, okay? So assuming you give birth today, your baby should be 3 years before you start planning on conceiving. But if you decide to do however you want to do, we wouldn't want that to happen as early as your baby being 6 months. So it's just for your system to return to shape, for you to regain the lost all the lost energy. So that's about it. I'm actually going to do a demonstration. I'm going to make out time to do a demonstration, because usually this is what I do in my office. I could equally do it in my office. That's food demonstration, to bring out all these foods for you to see what we meant and how to mix them up while feeding a baby, and how acceptable it is to our children. Of course, if you see my children as twin girls, if you see their weight, you will know that they are actually eating what their mother is telling others to do. So that's about it for today. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do me well by clicking on the subscribe button. It's free, okay? And aside that, when I see the number growing, I know that yes, I'm communicating to people. I was actually talking about personal things, which is equally part of my niche, but I decided that let me bring this today so that mothers who are following me, who want to know what to feed to their baby, will equally benefit from today's section. So if you enjoyed it, put that down in the comment section, like, give us thumbs up, share our video. We are not restricting you from sharing the link, okay? Share with your friends and loved ones, and ask me questions if there are any ways or areas you want me to point. I'm a public health nutritionist, okay? A UNICEF trained trainee, and at the same time I'm a SIMAM coordinator. So I speak from both professional experience and maybe as a mother, okay? So share my video, ask me questions if there are anything you want me to respond to, okay? I love you all for coming by and stopping by always. So thanks for today, until we see next time. Love you.